You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a chapel in Coffeyville hosted an event to honor local first responders.
Also, a recovery house in Iola is asking for help as funding for the program runs dangerously low.
And we've got cloudy skies out there, and we're looking at maybe a chance of a shower or two. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 o'clock on this Thursday morning.
Thursday morning.
It's been an interesting Thursday morning. So those of you maybe just joining us or switching over to Fox to see if you can see us. We've had a few technical difficulties this morning, so we apologize for that. We can't control technology. When it works, it's fantastic. But every so often it says I'm taking the day off. But we are here and we're going to stick with you and try and bring you some news and weather for this morning.
Absolutely. Happy to be with you this morning. Well, the Ford Wolf Bruns Chapel in Coffeyville, Kansas held a Patriot Day event for its local first responders and veterans.
The leader says she has a special connection with the event. KOAM's Lonnie Walton has her story.
Tali Haymaker, the assistant director of Ford Wolf Bronze Chapel, says September 11th is a special day for first responders.
Important to the community because it goes way beyond 9/11. Events and disasters and illnesses happen every day.
It's so important to her because she says her grandson fell into a gray water tank. Her son, who was a first responder, went in after him and saved him. Both of them came out unharmed. Haymaker says these are the obstacles first responders face every day.
They go out and they put their lives on the line. They see things that they can't unsee, and yet they return every day to do it again and again.
Fireman David Bishop has been on the force for over 50 years. He says he's seen just about everything.
And I've seen explosions there where people lost eyes, fingers, breasts, and grass fires like crazy.
Haymaker's husband, who is also a volunteer firefighter, was hurt in the line of duty and had to seek medical attention due to a knee replacement. But that didn't deter them. They basically made their whole family full of first responders.
All of our children started as junior firefighters. I have one still on the department in Deering, and then our youngest son is a EMT firefighter in Bentonville, Kansas now.
Like most people who have family that serves, she sometimes gets nervous when her family leaves for work.
I've always had that worry from day one, but I also know that I serve a God that's much bigger and greater than any force in this world.
Reporting in Coffeyville, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Now, every first responder received a free t-shirt that reads "Never Forget." They also received a free hot meal.
Of course, many folks out there will never forget the events of that day 23 years ago. It's hard to believe sometimes it's been 23 years.
Right.
But it's great to still see people remembering and continuing to carry on.
And for younger generations, it's important to be educated on that as well. Just because you might not have lived through it or experienced it doesn't mean that it's not important to our nation's history.
Absolutely. And we've got some weather to talk about. We've got cloudy skies out there, and we also have at least some shower chances as well. Let's start with a quick look outside from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. And you can see, well, it's cloudy, and it's going to be the same cloudy view from our camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin this morning as well. A little bit of light trying to get through on some of this. And as we take a look at the MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline in Joplin, also we've got the cloudy skies out there. So let's take a look. The fog tracker we've been running through this morning. We still have some dense fog around the Grand Lake area. That's been a thing the last several days. And so just if you're traveling down there, southern Ottawa County, Delaware County, even parts of McDonald County, western McDonald County, just be aware that there is some patchy dense fog that you'll need to contend with. Skywatch storm trackers. We do have a few isolated showers through Cherokee, Crawford counties and parts of Barton County, then down to the south as well, Ottawa, Delaware counties, and into Benton County. Not all of that necessarily reaching the ground, but at least some shower activity out there. So what we've got is the remnants of Francine, well, still a tropical storm at this point, but making landfall. And we've ended up with some showers on the far side of Francine. So we discussed this earlier this morning, but one of the short-range model computer models, the only one that said there would be showers today, was the one that was accurate. So we are going to see an opportunity through today for some showers. Now, initially, better chances are going to be on the Missouri side of things, but as we go through the afternoon, we'll see a few more showers out there, mainly east of the US 75 corridor. These will be isolated and they'll be relatively short-lived. It won't rain all day, but we will have at least shower chances through about 10 o'clock tonight. Quick look at temperatures. 67 in Joplin, 66 in Pittsburgh, and around the region, we're all into the 60s this morning. Low, mid, and upper 60s, so a bit warmer than where we were this time yesterday for many of us. Cloudy skies out there, and again, for some isolated showers. Temperatures at or a pinch above normal as we go mid and upper 80s today. We'll have another look at your forecast. We'll talk about Francine and how our weekend is shaping up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Joplin police investigate a stabbing in the parking lot of the 8th Street Salvation Army. Just before 11 p.m. Tuesday night, officers responded to reports of a pedestrian hit by a vehicle, but arrived to find a stabbing happened instead. Now, JPD says the suspect was having a dispute with his girlfriend when family members were called to retrieve a child. They then say the suspect stabbed one of those family members. The victim is in stable condition at last check. Formal charges against the suspect are pending. Well, yesterday marked 23 years since nearly 3,000 victims were killed in the September 11th terror attacks. Commemoration ceremonies and remembrances were held across the country, including right here in the 4 states. Well, yesterday morning, a cannon firing could be seen and heard across Pittsburgh State University's campus during a remembrance ceremony for those who lost their lives. ROTC cadets fired the cannon from the northwest corner of Carney Smith Stadium at the exact times the plane struck the north and south towers of the World Trade Center and when both towers collapsed. Cadets and guests also performed push-ups and read the names of each victim who died on that day in 2001. The SEK Recovery House in Iola, Kansas is at risk of closing due to lack of funds. They worry about having a void in resources for those in need of a recovery house. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
We can't change our community for drug addiction if we don't have safe places for people to recover.
The SEK Recovery House is a place where recovering addicts can have a second chance at life. The Recovery House helps them foster a support system, and they've seen many of their residents go on to find employment.
People that have had no hope and no resources, and watching them become employed and happy and hopeful.
SEK Recovery House is the only men's-only recovery house in Iola, and they provide resources like free naloxone to their residents.
We discovered that an all-male house was what was needed for the population that we were serving at the time.
But the SEK Recovery House is facing a hurdle. They are in danger of closing due to finances.
I can't help but get emotional to think about this community and the surrounding communities not having this resource.
The goal would be to ensure that our community members continue to have safe places that they can come, that they know that they are welcome and they are not judged, and that we can provide them with as many support services as possible.
They hope through community support and fundraising, they can stay open and continue helping people in need of a recovery house. Reporting in Iola, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The SEK Recovery House is accepting donations to their fundraiser on their Facebook page. And those are our top news stories in this half hour. Coming up next, a look at World Watch. And later, a museum dedicates itself to preserving the memory of the events of 9/11. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning. The mother of the teenager accused of killing 4 people last week at Appalachia High School in Georgia apologized to the victims' families in an open letter. Marcy Gray wrote, quote, "I am so sorry from the bottom of my heart. It comes a week after the shooting left 2 teachers and 2 students dead. 7 others were wounded by gunfire. Authorities said 2 more suffered other injuries. Gray said she would never forgive herself for what happened and that her son is not a monster." Gray reportedly called the school before the shooting to warn officials about an emergency involving her son after she received a concerning text from him. Well, there will be extra security on Capitol Hill this coming January 6th. That's when members of Congress meet to certify the electoral votes from the 2024 presidential election. It will be the first election certification since the U.S. Capitol attack of 2021. And this time, Congress will have the full weight of the federal government behind its security. There will be more officers on the ground, broader security parameters, and technology to detect potential material used in weapons of mass destruction. The FBI will also monitor for threats around the event in the months prior. The upcoming certification process has been designated as a national special security event by the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. Well, Francine weakened to a tropical storm overnight, hours after it made landfall in Louisiana yesterday. Flash flood warnings are still in effect in parts of the state, with hundreds of thousands of residents without power. This morning, the storm is also battering parts of Mississippi with 70-mile-per-hour winds. Jason Allen has more from New Orleans.
A turbulent view from a shrimp boat as Francine slammed into Louisiana as a Category 2 storm yesterday, packing a deadly storm surge and winds whipping at nearly 100 miles per hour. In hard-hit Terrebonne Parish, the powerful storm brought down power lines, snapped trees, and tore through this thrift store.
At least nobody got hurt. My family's all intact. That's really all I care about. You know, this is the worst happens to me, I'm good.
Power outages left more than 350,000 Louisiana residents in the dark as they hunkered down from Francine overnight. Partial 911 outages were also reported in areas impacted by the storm, though wireless companies say they're resolving the issue.
When it's daylight, we better get out and see what's going on and what needs to be repaired and get working on it.
With streets in parts of New Orleans now flooded, the mayor says the city is prepared.
We're just continuing to be, I would say, that model for disaster preparedness and really for recovery.
Winds and storm surge from a now weakened Francine are expected to also pound parts of Mississippi and Alabama over the next few hours, with the potential for deadly tornadoes and flash flooding. Jason Allen, CBS News, New Orleans.
Well, according to the National Weather Service, Francine is expected to continue to weaken over the next 24 hours to a tropical cyclone by Friday as it moves across the south. Now here's Chris with a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a cloudy start to the day, and a few showers are going to be possible as we head through today. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News 717 on this Thursday morning. We're going to start with the Skywatch Storm Tracker because we do have a couple of stray showers starting to roll into the area. So we've got a few more down around Pineville, Grove, just to the east of Miami, west of Neosho, stretching back down into Benton County. And then we've got these little showers that are stretching just almost right in between Girard and Pittsburgh, back down to the west of Columbus out there as well. So we're going to still see a few showers. They're going to be isolated, and you can see even just right now just how limited all this is. And we have a few more showers now developing across north central Arkansas that are going to roll in. These are all on the far northwestern edges of Francine, and so we'll see the shower chances. Again, they'll be isolated. They'll be with us all the way through about 10, 11 o'clock tonight, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to rain all day. It just means that we're going to see these shower chances. So initially, better chances are going to be on the Missouri side, and then we'll see shower chances spreading a little further to the west. So east of the 65 corridor is going to be the next best window for some isolated showers. But again, it's not going to necessarily rain all day, and what we do see will be very isolated. And the reason that's no good is because, well, we need more rain in the area, but at least something at this point is better than nothing. You go into our Friday, maybe a stray shower or two in the morning, but otherwise we're going to start to see skies gradually clear from west to east, and by late in the day we'll start to go into mostly clear skies as we head overnight and into our Saturday. And on our Saturday, we'll see a few additional clouds here and there, could see an isolated pop-up shower or storm, but otherwise not much else going on. In terms of Francine now coming down to tropical depression status, no longer a tropical storm, as winds have dropped down to 35 miles an hour. And the course is still maintaining up around the Memphis area as we head into Friday afternoon. And so that's about as close as it's going to get to us, which is why, again, the bulk of the more meaningful rainfall is staying off to our south and east. All right, we've got those cloudy skies out there. Again, this data is what's reported from the airport's automation system, so it's not 100% accurate. You can see it's very clearly not sunny. It is 67, though. That is correct, and winds are calm. I'll see some easterly winds at about 5 to 10 miles an hour a little later today. Temperatures this morning, most of us low, mid, upper 60s, starting to get close to 70 degrees out there in parts of southwestern Missouri. So again, for some, isolated showers, others just the cloudy skies. That's the one thing we're all going to be in on today. And we'll be about 80 by 11 o'clock this morning. So we head into the afternoon. We're going to be at or a little above normal, going mid-upper 80s, cloudy skies, and again, for some of us, some isolated shower chances out there. And those showers stick with us through the evening hours. We'll be down to about the mid-70s by 10, and lows tonight, similar to what we saw, or what we're seeing now and what we saw last night, low to mid-60s out there, with mostly cloudy skies, but we'll begin to dry out. Again, isolated pop-up shower storm possible Saturday. Tomorrow, the gradual clearing mid-80s. As we head into the weekend, though, you can see temperatures going right back above normal. We're going to hang out upper 80s, low 90s through at least Friday, but also as we head into the next work week, we start to see a few opportunities for some pop-up showers and thunderstorms. And we talked about this yesterday morning. Still seems to be the possibility, at least as we head into next weekend. Well, we would like to have a nice weekend. We do need rain, and we'll take it whenever we can get it. And we're still looking at slightly better rain chances as we head into next weekend with another system coming in. It also drops our temperatures below normal by a little bit as we head into next weekend as well. By Saturday, looking at highs in the low 80s. That is a check of your forecast. We'll have more of the KOAM morning news right after this. Well, yesterday, the nation honored the roughly 3,000 people whose lives were cut short more than 2 decades ago during the deadliest terror attack on U.S. soil.
But as people remember the September 11 attack, staff at the 9/11 Museum are busy educating folks less familiar with the events in order to fight the spread of misinformation. Fox News' Kevin Uretsky reports.
Wednesday marks 23 years since the September 11th terror attacks. But amidst the memorials and outpouring of emotions, guides at New York City's 9/11 Museum say they are regularly correcting online misinformation about the assault, especially among young people born after 2001.
I understand that 100 million have been born since that date, just here in America.
Marianne Braverman was working in Tower 2 that fateful day. She sounded the alarm for her coworkers to evacuate.
When I saw that fireball, I knew this was nothing normal.
Braverman has been using her first-hand experience as a survivor, educating visitors to the 9/11 Museum since it opened in 2014. But for young Americans who aren't familiar with the events of 9/11 because they weren't alive yet, Braverman is helping to clarify a lot of their confusion.
I love seeing a light go off when they understand how I've explained how the tower fell. So some of the stuff I've seen on the internet is not correct. How could those terrorists have gotten on the planes with box cutters? And I explained to them that before September 11th, you could carry a knife blade up to 5 inches long on a plane.
While it can be hard to tell children and teens the truth about violence, Braverman stresses how countless people work to try and save one another.
And that's, to me, the most important spirit of 9/11 that we can remember, to take with us.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Certainly important to educate the younger folks. Like
Absolutely.
She said, more than 100 million born since that time. Wow. I've got nieces, nephews that were born post that time, and for yourself, a little too young to really recall the event specifically. So it is important to help kids remember, what really happened that day.
Absolutely, now and for generations to come.
Absolutely.
Well, coming up, our very own Anthony Saviello shares how seniors at Webb City may have a few more opportunities for a college education.
And the clouds rolled in overnight. We've got a cloudy start to the day. A few isolated showers as well. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Elise Snowy. The transfer of ownership for the hospital in Pittsburgh culminated yesterday with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. The ceremony recognizes Mercy's acquisition of the former Via Christi Hospital in Pittsburgh. The transaction was officially finalized September 1st. The Mercy Hospital Pittsburgh is the third Mercy Hospital in Kansas, joining Mercy Hospital Columbus and Mercy Specialty Hospital Southeast Kansas in Galena. Now, Mercy says their investment in specialty care will benefit the Pittsburgh community and patients.
There was a need, and they were looking for a long-term sustainable partner to come into this community. Number one. Number two, it's an incredible community. There's a great physician backdrop here. There's a great history of service in the community. And it's also a natural progression for Mercy. It's not an island sitting way out in the middle of nowhere. It's part of, and it's a contiguous part of where we currently provide care.
Mercy also operates 2 primary care clinics in Pittsburgh. Well, New Heights Christian Academy in Joplin got some funding for a new modular classroom building. The Arvez Foundation donated $10,000 to the school yesterday. The money will be used to cover the cost of moving and setting up the 15 classroom building. Now, it's currently on the campus of Missouri Southern, but will be moved to the Academy's campus.
Grown. In 2020, when I first came, our first year we were at 505 students. In this year when we started school, we were at 633 students. And so that's the most we've ever had at the beginning of the year. Well, in general, the most we've ever had. And so we're busting at the seams.
This new building will replace a 2 classroom building New Heights had been renting. Well, for 2 years after a lightning strike caused a fire at a Fort Scott church, efforts to rebuild are well underway. The fire at Mary Queen of Angels Catholic Church caused an estimated $6 million in damage, and the building was deemed a total loss. The church staff began holding mass in a gymnasium the next day as rebuilding efforts started. Construction of the new church is ongoing, with the dedication mass scheduled for November. Parish members say it was important for the historic church to come back despite the tragedy.
Words can't just explain how exciting it is, how overwhelming, how terrific to know that this church that burned down and out of those ashes will be resurrected.
There will be a benefit dinner to support the rebuild efforts tomorrow at 5 p.m. at the Kennedy Gym in Fort Scott. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
We have a few showers out there. We've also got the cloudy skies out there as well, as you can see from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. And looked like actually there might be maybe not. Thought there was a raindrop on there. We've had some showers on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Not much out there. We're getting a little bit of daylight in from our camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. Otherwise, the clouds are the predominant feature. And same from MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline. Fog tracker, we're now looking good. We've been dealing with the last several mornings all that dense fog around Grand Lake, but that is beginning to clear out there, which is some good news as well. This is just a bad radar return from Kansas City, but these showers in Crawford County and down to the south around Miami and down toward Bentonville are there. Not all of it's necessarily reaching the ground, but there are some showers, and we'll continue to see showers as they develop and roll in out of Arkansas on the far northwestern edges of Francine. So on the future track in the first half of the day, the slightly better chances for some isolated showers will be on the Missouri side, but as we go through the afternoon, we'll see a few more showers spread a little further west, but most of this activity will remain confined east of the US 75 corridor as we head through today. Shower chances will be with us through most of the day, but that does not mean necessarily it's going to rain all day, even though we do need some rain. 67 in Joplin right now, 66 in Pittsburgh, and temperatures around the region were relatively into the 60s at this point. Warm spot is Chanute at 70. We've got low, mid, and upper 60s otherwise. As we go through the rest of today, we'll eventually be at or a little above average. Highs mid, upper 80s. We'll have the cloudy skies and, at least for some of us, a few isolated showers out there. We'll have another look at your forecast, talk about the weekend and the big warm-up on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Well, seniors at Webb City High School now have a few more doors of opportunity open to them when it comes to seeking higher education. KOAM's Anthony Saviello tells us more.
As a student, one question you may experience is, what are you going to do when you grow up?
I want to be a math teacher.
Whatever you want your profession to be, for many students, their next step will be college. But figuring out where to go and whether you can afford it can be a struggle.
So the idea behind this is that the students have one portal that they can go to find out what colleges can offer them. So this is just an opportunity for them and their parents to maybe see what options are out there that they hadn't considered before, and it puts it all in one like handy dandy little place.
The Webb City School District partnered with View Scholarships. This program analyzed each Webb City senior and gave them all the options they had as far as scholarships and colleges that were interested in each student.
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited to see all the opportunities that we're going to be able to get from the View. And I think it's going to really broaden our perspective and our ability to see what opportunities are going to lie ahead.
Over 6,000 scholarships worth over $250 million are available to the students of Webb City.
I was surprised by the amount of money.
Really?
Yes.
So, if I may ask, how much money are you being offered?
1.6 million.
And how many offers do you have?
38 total offers.
It's now their choice as far as where they want to go and what scholarships they want to take.
Coming in and talking to us during their senior conference about, I looked at these colleges and this is how much they're willing to offer me, and then that can kind of direct them like, hey, do they have the program that you're interested in or the degree that you're interested in?
Reporting in Webb City, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Now, the school says the program will be implemented for years to come, with each senior class from now on getting the opportunity to see what colleges are interested and how much students could receive in scholarships. Now, to look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A teddy bear can mean a lot to a child amid a crisis. We'll see how one organization in Arizona works year-round to ensure that every kid has a teddy bear. In Consumer Watch this morning, state and local officials warn that this year's election could face potential delays from widespread issues with mail-in voting. Election officials say many votes during that were postmarked on time during the recent primary season were counted days after the deadline because of mailing delays. Now, the association says the Postal Service has received several complaints, but nothing has been done to fix the issues. The U.S. Postal Service says it successfully delivered ballots on time in 2020 and will do so again this year. Well, some cruises to a popular tourist destination are getting more expensive. Greece is planning to implement a tax on cruise ships during the summer travel season. Visitors headed to Santorini or Mykonos will have to pay an extra $22. The country says it does not have a structural over-tourism issue, but there have been problems during certain times of the year in some areas. Well, a possible strike at Boeing is looming as workers are preparing to vote on a tentative union deal. Union leadership is recommending the mechanics approve the contract, but they are not happy with the terms. Now, the company did not agree to their request for a 40% pay increase, and Boeing's refusal to restore a pension plan that was eliminated in 2014 is a major sticking point. Lou Tran reports.
Boeing plants across the Puget Sound are making a lot of noise. Boeing and IAM District 751 have been negotiating on a new contract for 6 months. There's a new tentative agreement, but some Boeing workers tell us they don't like it.
Contract sucks. We're going on strike.
Factory workers were hoping for a 40% increase over a 3-year span, but instead, this new agreement would give them a 25% increase over the next 4 years. 11% on day one, a 4% increase for the next 2 years, and 6% in 2027.
It's ridiculous.
Many are saying that the pay is not keeping up with inflation. One worker gave us this photo saying it's a recent protest with hundreds marching during a lunch break.
The starting wage for our grade is $19 an hour. I made more at Walmart than working here.
Last July, T-Mobile was packed with thousands of Boeing workers for a strike authorization vote.
Are you willing to strike to get the improvements you deserve?
Several workers say their voices are not being represented at the table.
To all of us union members, what we asked to be brought to the table wasn't. It was actually, it's like I said, it was kind of a slap in the face.
As Thursday's vote nears, workers say it's not just about the pay, it's also about safety.
One of these airplanes holds 200 people. We're 40 airplanes a month. There's a lot of people that fly on these planes. We put pride in our work, so it should reflect on what's paid.
And those are our top consumer stories. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:43 now on this Thursday morning. We're starting with the Skywatch Storm Tracker because we still have some isolated showers out there, and we're going to see a few more of these. We've got some right around Cassville, south of Monette, just to the west of Bentonville, Pineville, Neosho, almost paralleling I-49. Some light showers around the Miami area, and we've got some up north into Crawford County as well. Now, not all of this is necessarily reaching the ground at this point, but we're going to see a few more showers begin to rotate in on the far northwestern edges of Francine, and that's going to stick with us through the majority of the day. Now, while we have the shower chances through about 10 or 11 o'clock tonight, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to rain all day where you are. In the first portion of the day, the better chances for some of these showers is going to be on the Missouri side of things. But as we go into the afternoon, they'll start to spread a little further west. But again, it will stay roughly east of the 75 corridor for these chances. But also keep in mind, these are going to be very isolated chances. We're not, again, going to see rain everywhere all at once. But we do have some shower chances out there. And again, that'll stick with us to the late evening hours. And then we might see a stray shower or two tomorrow morning. I think the majority of us are going to be dry, and as we go through our Friday, we'll start to see skies gradually clearing out from west to east. So some of you, see, for example, Bartlesville going up to 92, you're going to get a little more sunshine a little earlier than your friends to the east, and so some of us will be a little cooler on our Friday. And then we have some pop-up storm chances on Saturday, and we'll talk about that in a moment as well. All right, so here's the latest on Francine. Winds down to 35 miles an hour, so putting her back down to tropical depression type status or subtropical status. And so the rest of it, the course has remained relatively consistent, sending it up around Memphis, so that's as close as really it's going to get, which is why the bulk of the precipitation is unfortunately going to stay to our east. Again, you can see there's some sunlight trying to get through out there in Joplin, otherwise cloudy skies prevailing. 67, winds are calm, and around the area, temperatures gradually starting to warm up out there. Chinook's the warm spot right now at 70, the rest of us in the range of the 60s, low, mid, and upper 60s across the area. Going through the morning, again, some isolated showers for some of us, otherwise just cloudy skies out there. And we'll eventually make about 80 degrees by 11. And then we'll see highs roughly about average or a little above as we go mid-upper 80s out there. And again, cloudy skies, and for some of us, mainly east of 75, at least a chance of an isolated shower or two. And those will continue through the evening hours, mid-70s by 10. We'll go mostly cloudy overnight, a little bit of clearing here and there. And lows similar to last night, back into the low to mid-60s across the region. As we look down the road tomorrow, as clouds gradually clear out, again, further west, you're going to be a little warmer, but most of us are going to be about average, right around the mid-80s. And then we'll go back above average, upper 80s, low 90s, all the way through next Friday. Maybe a pop-up shower storm on our Saturday out there. And then we'll have those chances continuing as we head into next week. Now, as we deal with that, again, these are slight chances, but at least something is better than nothing. As you know, our drought conditions are continuing to worsen across the area, so we definitely need some rain out there. We're still looking at a system by the end of next week that should bring us some slightly better shower and thunderstorm chances as we head into next weekend. It will also drop our temperatures a bit, maybe even a little below normal, back into the low 80s. That is a check of your forecast. We will be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Well, Monday was National Teddy Bear Day, and one organization in Arizona used the day to help get more bears to kids in crisis year-round.
Fox's Danielle Miller shares the impact this organization is having in their area.
It's just so heartwarming to think that, kids who need something to hold on to at a tough time in their life can have a Hugs teddy bear.
And you really have to think Needle and thread being used to celebrate National Teddy Bear Day here at the Assistance League of Phoenix. Today, volunteers sewing bears for the nonprofit's Hugs program.
Every year we give out over 4,500 teddy bears, and once a month our volunteers get together and they come in and sew and cut and put hats on all of our teddy bears that go to the first responders.
Those first responders will give the teddy bears to children in crisis.
This teddy bear is not a toy, it's really a tool. It's a tool for children experiencing some sort of crisis or trauma when they really just need something to hold on to. These bears go out to children who have had a house fire, a death in the family.
They also give the bears to doctors and dentist offices to give children comfort before a procedure. Azul Soledad was at one of those offices when she received her bear nearly 15 years ago.
When I got the bear, I was at Noah Clinic for a cleaning. And at the time, I really hated the dentist. I was scared of it.
She's brought her bear Hugs everywhere with her. Hugs brought her comfort many years ago and still does.
I was crying the whole time because I was terrified. And then they were like, here's a prize. And I was like, oh my God, yay! Now I have the teddy bear. Now I have Hugs.
The program has been around for 37 years. Knowing it has a lasting impact, that's what's kept the volunteers coming back year after year.
Certainly great to see. I mean, stuffed animals, as when you're a kid, teddy bears or otherwise, are so important. Even blankets, things like that you have as a child.
Oh yeah,
are so special. And that, I mean, I even remember all of my favorite ones.
I remember I had a favorite blanket that I had for years and years and years that I could not get rid of.
Yeah,
so
me too.
Anything that kind of gives you that comfort as a kid, maybe even as a grown up, sometimes you need a little help. Well, let's take a quick look outside, starting with our camera downtown Pittsburgh, and show you, give you a tour of the cloudy skies out there, and you can see them there. And we'll head over to our camera at 7th and Rangeline. We've had a little bit of sunlight trying to get through out here as well, but there's not much breaking through all of these clouds. Another view of the clouds from 20th and Rangeline in Joplin, and there's no sunshine breaking through the trees here. KDOT camera 69 and Kansas Crossing just south of Pittsburgh. We do have some isolated showers here and there. We've actually got one shower. It's actually starting to pick up a bit. We're not expecting any thunderstorms or anything like that, but just to the west of Cassville, some actual rainfall coming down. Some of these showers, not everything is reaching the ground. We'll continue to see some showers rotate in from the east-southeast out of Francine. We'll have isolated showers across the area today. First half of the day, they're going to be mainly into Missouri, but as we go into the afternoon, we'll see them spreading out a little further west, and through about 10, 11 o'clock tonight, we'll have these isolated showers out there east of the 75 corridor. So it won't rain all day, but we'll have some showers here and there, and that's better than nothing. We'll have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The transfer of ownership for the hospital in Pittsburgh culminated with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Now, the ceremony recognizes Mercy's acquisition of the former Via Christi Hospital in Pittsburgh. The transaction was officially finalized on September 1st. Mercy says their investment in specialty care will benefit the Pittsburgh community and their patients. Well, Joplin police are investigating a stabbing in the parking lot of the 8th Street Salvation Army. JPD says on Tuesday night, the suspect was having a dispute with his girlfriend when family members were called to retrieve a child. They then say the suspect stabbed one of those family members. The victim is in stable condition at the last check. Formal charges against the suspect are pending. New Heights Christian Academy in Joplin got some funding for a new modular classroom building. The Arvis Foundation donated $10,000 to the school, and that money will be used to cover the cost of moving and setting up the 15-classroom building. This new building will replace a 2-classroom building New Heights had been renting.
We've got an opportunity for a few isolated showers out there today. Initially on the Missouri side this afternoon will be east of 75. Most of us will still be dry. The showers we see will be relatively isolated. Will otherwise be cloudy, mid-upper 80s for our highs. Showers continue through, at least the chances continue through about 10, 11 o'clock tonight, and then we'll go mostly cloudy and back into the low to mid 60s. We'll have some gradual clearing start to take place tomorrow, mid 80s for most of us, but those who get a little more sunshine could go a little warmer than that. And we'll be heating back up into the weekend. Upper 80s, low 90s, maybe a pop-up shower or storm Saturday. Some isolated to widely scattered storm chances through most of next week, and maybe some slightly more meaningful rainfall chances as we head into next weekend.
All righty. Well, a humpback whale was found entangled with various lines of off British Columbia, Canada. A Canadian news team reported that a nearby crew was alerted of the trapped animal in Hecate Strait. The humpback whale was found with multiple lines and floats tangling its head and midsection.
The crew spent several days rescuing the animal before it swam free. The crew thinks the animal got trapped by collecting gear and lines for weeks or months before it eventually got trapped. So thankfully they were able to help him out there. Get him set back free. Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for sticking with us and letting us put the good into your morning today. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.